My name is Samuel, so I'll be the first presenter from our group for today. And actually, our group presentation for today is about conflict management, and I will cover the introductions and um, identify some problems from our case study. Jefferson and Teja will be our second and the third speaker respectively, and they will suggest some possible solutions to the identified problems. And lastly, Kavya will conclude our presentations by giving the relevance of our case study to the daily lives. So our case study is about 2011 Halloween Horror Nights at Singapore Zoo. As for background information, this event had been ongoing for the past 6 years. And in 2011, it was planned by 17 Singapore Polytechnic students as their final year project. However, 2 weeks before the event was supposed to be held, the Management Committee of Wildlife Reserve Singapore, or WRS, decided to cancel this event. And because of the sudden cancellations, millions of dollars, 7 months of planning, and 1,000 tickets sold went to waste. And eventually, this incident led to public frustrations. And this is the conflict that we want to talk about here. It's between the WRS and the public itself. Yeah, so let us take a look at what factors that could trigger public frustrations over this incident. First is the reasons for cancellations. As quoted from the new paper, Ms. Low, the newly elected CEO of WRS, decided to cancel this event because she received negative feedback from the public, and the event itself was perceived to be, as in the public perceived the event to be irrelevant to the conservation of animals. However, if she decided to cancel this event because of negative feedback, she should have done so way earlier before the event was even planned, because Halloween night itself had been proven to go on well for the past 6 years. Subsequently, she also mentioned about how the event clashed with Deepavali. However, we couldn't understand why Halloween night was deemed to be less important than Deepavali, so that it should be cancelled. And then President Tony Tan was actually happened to be in the zoo a week before the incident, and he made a comment how the zoo should have more of family bonding activities. Ms. Low tried to justify her argument by agreeing to his remark that the park should have more of family bonding activities. However, we couldn't understand why she thought that Halloween nights was unable to bond family. In our opinion, in our opinion, the Halloween nights could even bond people from different cultural backgrounds as a nation. Hence, people felt that the reasons given for sudden cancellations were unreasonable and invalid. Second, the second factor that could trigger public frustrations is the inconsistency of reasoning. As you can see from this timeline, on the first day, her reason to cancel the event was because of the negative feedback. However, on the second day, she changed her statement. Now it was because the event clashed with Deepavali. And on the third day, she again changed her comment. It was now because she agreed with the family bonding matters commented by President Tan. And on the fourth day, she immediately apologized to President Tan because he didn't want to be linked to this incident. And on the fifth day, she returned to her original comment about the negative feedback. So the communication here appeared to be very disjointed and looked just like an excuse. Last but not least, the third factor that could trigger public frustrations is the medium of communications. Instead of face-to-face apology, she announced the cancellations of the event to the students via social media platform. And by doing so, it seemed that she didn't appreciate how much time and effort the students had put in to organize and plan this event. Now I would like to pass the baton to Jefferson, who will explain more about the IFAC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Samuel. So to understand this problem a little bit better, we will go through the impact of the problem itself. The first thing is the purpose. The purpose of this communication itself is to inform all of the relevant parties of the cancellation of the event, and at the same time also to build and maintain the good relation between WRS and also the students. Okay, and the audience, there are three audiences that actually constitutes the publics. One is the students, the second one is the volunteers, and also the third one is all those people that has bought the ticket already earlier. So although three of these audiences, right, actually share the same culture, they share the same language, but then the perception of their perception of this event itself might be different. And because of the difference in the perception, we should address each of different audiences differently to cater to their own needs. Okay, the context, we divided the context into two different categories. The one that is preferable to the changes of the event, to the cancellation of the event itself and the one that it doesn't. Okay, we will go through one by one first. The one that has the positive effect because of the cancellation are when we cancel the event, the Deepawali still can be held at the same time, and also it is aligned with President Tony Tan's remarks a week earlier in the park. They're saying that this park should be a family bonding theme park. Okay, and also at the same time, it will address the negative feedback that WRS has been receiving for the past few years. But then, if you cancel the event, what happened? The preparation of the event actually already enters the last stage of the preparation because the 7-month preparation has already been put there, and also $1 million has been invested. If you cancel the event very lately, it will trigger the public frustration, and in the long run, it will impact and it will hurt the reputation of WRS in the eye of the public itself. And in the finance perspective, WRS might incur the opportunity loss of $4 million of expected revenue. Yeah, it's not a small amount of money, of course. And the understanding of this context is, of course, to enable Ms. Law to react quickly and also accurately in addressing, for example, there is bad reaction from the public if the announcement is already being made. So after we understand the problem, we come to the suggested solution. We divided this suggested solution into 3 different time frames. The one is pre-announcement solutions, which will be explained by me, and subsequently there will be announcement solutions and also post-incident remedies that will be elaborated more by THL. Okay, so pre-announcement means that the approach to minimize the impact of the cancellation and also to reduce and to prevent the problem to get any bigger. So what we would propose to Ms. Law is that Ms. Law actually should do extra measures to help the dialogues to the students before the announcement is made to build the mutual understanding. By this mutual understanding, the students will have more respect to the Ms. Law itself and the public frustration could be minimized. And what happened in the dialogue itself is that Ms. Law should understand what are the implications that the students or the consequences that the student has to face if this event is cancelled. And from there, and complemented by all of the experience that Ms. Law have, Ms. Law also actually can propose some suggested alternatives, such as to find a better venue to conduct these activities, the more appropriate venues, and also to shift the timing such that both Deepawali and also this Halloween Horror Night can be held together. Okay, so that should be all from my part in the pre-announcement solutions. I will like to pass the time to THL to explain the solution during the announcement itself. THL, please.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Now I'm going to continue with some suggested solutions both during and after the announcement. For some areas of improvement on the announcement itself, the first thing that I want to talk about is the medium of communication. Instead of using Facebook to make this kind of official statement, it would be more appropriate and better to convey the message through the official website of WRS and more personally by email or SMS, because this will be a more effective way to make people get the message easier and faster so that they can have more time for rescheduling. And secondly, there should be more sincere apologies, as apologizing as a method of regaining public goodwill is not a mere matter of saying sorry, and sincere apologies should demonstrate an understanding of concerns that are faced by various stakeholders. For example, here, including the XP students who have been working so hard and putting so much effort for the 7 months, and with almost $1 million spent and 1,000 tickets sold already. And on the other hand, for the public, for the people who have purchased the tickets, intending to have a good time with friends, now they have to make alternative arrangements. And most importantly, at last minute, now we can see that how frustrated they can be. And thirdly, just as Samuel shared with you earlier on, there were several inconsistent explanations of cancellation. And this will be giving an expression of using fake excuses to cover up the true reason behind. And so here, what should have been done is that the CEO should have done better planning of the communication to be carried out to show that the final decision of cancellation was made after thorough considerations instead of casual one. And lastly, there should be open conversations between the WRX and the public instead of the WRX running away from responding to the public by refusing to answer more questions afterwards. And now I'm moving on to the second part of my presentation where I'm going to share with you some possible post-incident remedies for this case study. So first of all, a press conference would be good to be held for the purpose of expressing apologies personally and officially and sincerely, and to provide more information by answering questions from the public and the media will be good. And what's more, an apology package would be good to for the distribution to whoever bought the tickets, containing free tickets for future events and some shopping vouchers to at least make people feel better. And last but not least, multiple refunding methods should be provided to enable people to get the refund easier and faster and with minimum effort. So this is also a way of soothing people's negative emotion against the cancellation of this event. So that's all for my part for today's presentation, and now I will pass it to Gaohui to sum up the learning points and to conclude our presentation today. Thank you.
Thanks, Taeja. I'm Gaohui. Now I will continue presentation of learning points and conclusions as well. So firstly, at first, what we can see from this incident is that wherever choice and the decision exists, there is always potential for disagreement. So when the disagreement comes out, if this disagreement is not well or properly dealt with, it will cause us conflicts eventually. So in our daily life, what can we do when the decision made negatively affect the other parties? So according to our case study, the suggested way is to using 3-10 method. So what should we do before, during, and after? So before the conflicts, firstly, you need to identify the problem and make the problem well defined. Secondly, you need to provide valid, logical, consistent, and persuasive reasons why we choose and make such kind of decisions. And thirdly, we are supposed to choose the most suitable mode of conflict management skills. Actually, for this situation, the compromising is the most suitable ways, which the compromising is each of the parties sacrifices both something important to gain agreement. So during the conflict, please make the information as transparent as possible and provides the sincere apologies. So when the bad situation happens, we need to provide conflict remedies and take follow-up actions immediately and simultaneously. So, however, these are the basic understanding of how to use 3 method techniques to cope with conflicts. Also, the conflict management also requires a lot of the skills. So there are 3 main skills we can learn for our case study: compromising skills, problem-solving skills, and conflict remedy skills. First, for the compromising, there are 3 main factors taken into our consideration: negotiating, how to assessing bilateral values, and how to make concessions. And for the problem-solving skills, actually it's the same with the 3-time-based skills. Clarify the problem, generate possible solutions, and decide which is the best, and plan how to implement the solutions in the realities. So finally, evaluate. So for the conflict remedy skills, the first priority, we need to identify the needs and feelings, and establish cooperative relations on the interest, not on the position. And thirdly, show respect to the other party the public and the audience. Firstly, we need to focusing on the problem and downsize the conflict. Finally, take actions. Okay, let's come to our conclusions. After we study the case of sudden cancellation of the Harun Horror Night by WRS, what they done is not taking the good and proper actions to cope with the anger, cope with the situations, and never give them the good communication skills to improve the situation and strengthen the relation between the authority and to the public. So, all in all, the conflict management is the practice of identifying and handling conflict in sensible, fair, and efficient manner. And as well, conflict management is also the opportunity to improve situations and strengthen relationships. That's all for our group studies presentation. Thank you very much. Now let's turn to our important sections, Q&A sections. Thank you.
Yeah, is there any question from the floor? Yeah, Thomas.
So basically, you all give solutions for the things that what she should do, right? Put yourself in her position right now. Will you go with the event, or will you cancel the event itself? If you go to the event, what will you do to actually solve all the negative reviews, the dates, and the excuse she gave? What will you do in order to solve this if you go with it?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So basically, we understand that as the CEO, right, in a very high position, there are a lot of information that is confidential, such that she cannot really share to all of the publics, such that it leads to this case happening. Sorry. Oh, okay. Basically, because of our understanding of her position itself, we will think of not going with the current plan, but then we can have a more gentle manner in cancelling the event itself. Instead of just stating in the Facebook that the event is cancelled, she can actually do our suggested solution, which are to meet the students and the stakeholders in person first and settle all of the complication that might appear later on before the public announcement being made. Because after you make the announcement in public, the ball is already rolled, and you cannot actually stop the snowball to get any bigger, because it's already outside and you cannot stop people from talking something bad about you. Yeah. So if it is already settled and all of the student representative already understand what is the case and how to deal with this, hopefully the student representative can also distribute or to communicate this information to all of the people that is related, so that they can also help us. It's not doesn't make them as our opponent, but then make us our friend or our hand to distribute the message to a wider public. Yeah. Is there anything that you want to add on?
And what's more, if I were in her position, all in all, the best solution is to actually cancel the horror night like much earlier. That would be the best solution. But after what down is down, maybe we can just follow the steps that we can follow some post-incident remedies to make the situation much better, instead of saying nothing and refusing to answer more questions, further questions from the public. Yeah, that would be the most worst case.
And I want to add another point is because in her decision right, the decision is cannot be changed because some reasons we don't know. So for this decision can be changed because we know that wherever choice and decision exist, there's always a disagreement. So how you handle this disagreement? So how these conflicts will be handled in the next procedures? So we better solve the kind of problems. So if the authority from the WRS, which means this is the dominant authorities, and so they have to provide the better solutions before the conflict and during the conflict and after conflict. So you need to, at least this authority have to show the very sincere apologies to the public and to the audience and the students and the stakeholders all involved in these activities. So that's why they can make the other people to easier understand what the decision from the higher level and what's the true reasons Also, it can easier to understand the true things. Not instead of this sudden conversation on website and on Facebook, and not informal and not in the proper ways to make it's very lead them to in the frustration mode, right? So this the three time fix method should a higher level to think about it. Yeah. I hope our group answer your question. Yeah.
This Halloween horror night, what kind of activities were planned in the last
Playing with ghosts.
Haunted house.
Haunted house.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's cat actors also.
Yeah, actors and
Yeah, so as in because like before 2011, right, it was held in Singapore Zoo. Then after 2011, it was held at USS like a few days ago.
What
USS, yeah. Now
It
the
was
Singapore
studio.
Halloween night was Universal
Studio.
yeah. They changed the venue from Singapore Zoo to USS. Yeah, so like they decorate the USS in such a way that it resembles Halloween. And so there.
Is she still the CEO? Isabella though? She stepped down. I thought she stepped down.
Yeah, she stepped down already from WRS.
Yeah.
But then she's still in NTU actually. She's one of the it's not a professor, but then one of the staff in NTU. Staff, yeah.
Senior lecturer.
Senior, it's not senior lecturer. Like she's holding one position in NTU. If you search in NTU website, they come out her name and also her photo.
She's in the board, is it?
In the board, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the very high flyer. Yeah. Is there any other question that you want to ask? Oh, by the way, Thomas, is that answer your question? Okay, thank you. Is there any other question other than Thomas?
So you mean she only announced it like when? The
2 weeks
2 weeks
before.
it was all planned already, right?
Yeah.
For selling
Yeah.
tickets and all that.
So it's, yeah.
And then 2 weeks prior to the actual event, she
Yeah.
cancelled her event. But she made the announcement on Facebook.
Facebook page.
Yeah.
What the Singapore Zoo Facebook page or her personal Facebook page?
The WRS.
That's our official Facebook page.
On the Facebook page.
And as in Singapore Zoo, because it was like
Affiliated.
WRS take care of the Singapore Zoo, something like that. So it's like from the Facebook of Singapore Zoo.
Yeah. And our reasoning is our understanding why she cancelled it very lately is because she is just newly elected. So she just take up the positions and she doesn't know much of the information inside the WRS itself. And probably there is something that
Something we didn't know.
we didn't know.
So,
yeah, she has
Maybe it's
to.
a higher level management strategies.
Or some kind of financial
Yeah.
thing.
But negative feedback, she said it's negative feedback, right? So what kind of negative feedback?
Because
It's not.
because by having this kind of event, Halloween night, it is irrelevant to conservation of animal, like what Singapore Zoo should do.
Yeah. Actually, it's the same reason why we choose this topic lah. Because we also the first time we read through all of the subtopics, why this topic stand out. Halloween Horror Night in the Singapore Zoo. It's quite it's quite strange and it's not relevant. So then we do more research about it and we think that it's quite interesting. We chose it.
Maybe the public.
The Singapore Zoo is not just about conservation, it's about entertainment.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
That's
true.
why the reason is unreasonable. It's a bit invalid.
Just another 2 reasons.
She also mentioned that it clashed with people body. And so as in,
Not
it can maybe she can shift it to later date or she didn't have to cancel this event.
Yeah. From all of the reason that can change by every day, it means that there is no a main reason why she cancel this, or actually the main reason
Is
is
hidden.
not out in the public. Yeah. That's the
But
thing
she
that we do.
didn't retract her decision.
Yeah.
She didn't. She didn't. Yeah.
So at 2011,
We
there's
don't
no
have-
Singapore
there's no-
Horror Halloween.
After that, there was no longer any more Halloween.
And
No,
in
2012
it was at USS.
at USS already.
Change venue.
Change venue, yes.
But not in Singapore.
Yeah.
Correct.
Any other questions? Anybody has attended the Halloween Horror Nights
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
It was often the
It's so crowded,
so crowded.
So crowded.
Actually, it's not that scary lah because it's very crowded. Then they want to scare you, then it's very crowded, so you're gonna feel afraid.
Right. It was hard in so was it the same concept as Singapore Zoo? Because I think in Singapore Zoo it's like the night safari, right? So you'll be
Yeah,
walking
night
around the
safari.
zoo and suddenly there will be some scary animal that like it will scare you, right? So maybe it's probably more effective to do it in Singapore Zoo, right?
Yes.
As compared to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
In Universal Studio, you have to enter one of the attractions. Then inside the attraction itself, there's some scare
And then you'll
actors.
be scared, right?
Yeah.
For the Singapore Zoo, it's a different thing. You just have to walk around.
Correct.
Obviously, it'll be more
True.
Yeah.
NTU also probably could be a very good potential venue. NIU or NIE, very scary.
NTU, I think, because it was like some kind of a pre-war site.
Yeah,
There
true.
could be some bombs, missing bombs.
Yeah, last time
So
the
it's
oil
very
level.
high likelihood that you will encounter ghosts if you actually
Hopefully it's not.
it will be real ghosts.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, correct. True. Hopefully we cannot.
Okay, any questions? Any other questions? No, it's not. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.